Welcome to our podcast. I have a special guest today, Amanda Bradford
Hi.
and Dr. Sneeder John. And what we're going to do is just visit Amanda.
Okay.
And what I want to do is kind of talk about the journey that you've been on the past 2 years.
Okay.
So before we do that, I just want to tell me where you're from, kind of your story.
I was born in Tyler, Texas, was raised here most of my life, became a paramedic, worked on the ambulance and stuff, and moved back to Amarillo. I worked in Houston, then I moved back to Amarillo. I have fought the weight loss battle all my life. I have been nearly at least 70 to 80 pounds overweight all my life. I could do the Weight Watchers, I could do all kinds of diets and get it off, but it would come back.
Yeah. Isn't that frustrating?
Mm-hmm.
So when in your life you say, a long time, when did you recognize, wow, this is I am fighting this and this is an issue? Was it in high school? Was it in after that? Where was it?
I guess the major eye-opener was the day I went to the hospital and my blood sugar was 400. And my dad was a diabetic. He was on insulin. He died from a stroke, diabetes, heart problems. And I just was like, I'm 40-something years old. I got to do something. I've got to do something. And I had just met my husband. We were dating at that time, and I got married, and I kept telling him, we really need to get serious. So we started Herbalife, and we were gonna get serious with the shakes and stuff. And like I said, I could lose it. I really could lose it, but I never could keep it off. And when I went to the hospital with the sugar of over 400, I was like, we got to do something.
That was a deal breaker.
And I went on another pill. I was on heart pills, I was on blood pressure pills, I was on, all kinds of pills, and then they added another one, and I was like, mm-mm. So my husband said, let's go see what he says. Yeah. And we did. We came to visit y'all, and this is where it started.
So we were talking about this. We had surgery August of 2020.
Yeah, we had started the year before in January. I had come to see you, and we were moving right along, and then COVID hit. And I was like, oh. And with the insurance was, I had to stay at a certain rate. So it was really hard because I had to do televisits. I couldn't do in-office visits, so I wasn't held accountable as much with the in-office. I knew I couldn't go over 286. My highest that year was 313. I had gotten up to 313, and I was like, no. When I went to surgery, I can't remember I know I started at 286, but I can't remember what I was on surgery weight.
And where are you today?
I am at 180.
That's fantastic, Amanda.
So I am on my heart pill, my seizure pill, and an aspirin, and the rest of it's vitamins.
So tell me about your diabetes. How did that change?
I'm no longer considered diabetic.
I tell you, that to me, when I sit down with patients that have diabetes, and they're either recently diagnosed or they fought it all their life, when we're able to do something like you had, which you did, the doodle switch for that reason, and it can cause your diabetes to go in remission. To me, that is one of the most satisfying things to see.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about where you are today. And what I want to compare and contrast is looking at your lifestyle, before surgery and now. And kind of tell me, because I want you to pass on to everyone listening, kind of your secret to success, or what's changed in your life now that so let's just talk through that. So kind of tell me what do you, how's your life different now versus before surgery, and what would you pass on to other patients for success?
Um, be yourself is the first thing, and work and do what you know will work for you. Um, I do 2 shakes and a meal. I do the snacks. I get my proteins in. I'm a big believer in Herbalife. So I love y'all's products. Don't get me wrong. I love the snacks and stuff. I never could get a taste for the shakes.
Yeah, everybody's different.
But everybody's different. Don't get discouraged. I went out of town this weekend. I didn't eat great. I had a burger, and yes, I had the bread. I still can't drink Cokes. That's and
that's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing,
That's
and
that's a
and
great
I
thing,
won't.
actually.
I won't go back to Cokes because I cannot handle the carbonation in my stomach. Um, the first time I woke up after the surgery, you remember seeing me. I was so out of it. Anesthesia really kind of messed me up. And
You have a hard time with anesthesia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've never had anything done major. And so when I woke up and you were going to send me home, and my husband and I are both looking at each other going, and all I could think of is, what did I get myself into? What have I done?
Yeah.
And, I went back and started thinking of everything that everybody has told me that, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do, eat your vegetables anymore. You're not going to be able to enjoy your food anymore.
And where do you hear that from? Just curiosity. Is it on chat boards and things like that?
No, people that had had the surgery, you're going to have these problems and stuff like that. You are going to have problems. You are going to have issues, but there's a way to fix the issues. And you just have to learn how to work with your body.
And give me an example. So let me say, you mentioned that
Vegetables.
that moment of regret when you woke up. I always tell all my patients, because I hear this, your first 2 weeks,
you're miserable.
It's an adjustment. You're like, oh my goodness, what have I done?
You're miserable, and it's like my husband was trying to be so supportive, and he would come in there, what can I? Well, food. I need food.
You want to eat. Everybody
and,
wants to eat.
And it's like
yes.
You're sitting there going, you don't have enough food, but you really don't realize you do. And my main deal is, I couldn't take the Zofran. I don't know what the deal was with the Zofran through the IV, because I was out, so I couldn't drink. I couldn't drink like they needed me to do in the hospital. Yeah. Once I finally drank and started getting up and walking and stuff, I felt better.
Yeah.
I could function, and I just couldn't go my 90 miles per hour that I was used to. The protein waters saved me. The waters, anything to get your protein in, to get your waters in. That's what I would say. A lady told me the other day that Gatorade now makes a protein drink.
I have not seen that.
So
awesome.
The first 2 weeks was miserable, and then I got.
And what would you say? Just staying
hydrated and trying to get proteins in, and you get tired of eating liquid.
That the number one thing that I always get is people just want to chew. They want to chew something,
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something about us that we take for granted every day. And you're right, it drives everyone crazy because they want to chew something.
And let's see. So then the clear liquids was worse, but when I was able to eat the soups and stuff and start eating the Jell-O, that helped. That helped me a lot. I could kind of chew on it, and I would be okay.
So when you get to soft food like eggs and things like that, you feel like that's a turning point, or when was it a turning point? You're like, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay.
When I could eat something, just put something in my mouth that was normal, like a yogurt or even a shake, because I was already used to the shakes, and I could put my fruits and, mix them up in there real good and stuff. I know I probably did my fruits a little early, but I could put my fruits in there and I could feel like, oh, wow,
It's something more normal.
Mm-hmm.
So during those first 2 weeks when your life's hard and you're like second guessing things, what would you tell patients? What would you tell?
Just be patient.
Be patient.
And just do what the diet says. If you do the diet before and after, when you stumble during your trip of this journey, you can go back and start that diet over. And that's what I've had to do a couple of times. I've gotten off track and I'd say, okay, I've got to reset. And I'll go back and do 3 or 4 days of clear liquids or 3 or 4 days of just liquids, and kind of get going and get back to my normal, getting my proteins in, getting my waters in.
And I'll say even my personal life, the weekends are the hardest for us. I'm a routine guy. I like Monday through Friday. I have the same routine. I exercise. I'm eating right. I'm cooking. But the weekends, I tend to eat stuff that I probably shouldn't because we're doing kid events and things like that.
And it's fast.
And so I'm like you. On Monday, I kind of have to reset things. And one thing about the diet that I don't know if a lot of patients appreciate, we try to cut all the sugar out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of kind of helping reset things. Mm-hmm. It's cutting all that sugar out of our diet that really helps us feel better, actually.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I can recommend. When you start to crave something, and you're going to, and no matter what, I still do. I still have cravings. Buy certain things in packages that come with like little drops of a piece of candy, or if you crave a carb, something that's, not that big of a carb, have it readily available, because I still crave sugars and I'll still eat candy, but I can eat a couple of pieces of candy compared to eating the whole bag or eating the whole candy bar, because I've learned if I don't do that, if I try to go eat something good for me and stuff like that, 30 minutes later I'm still craving what I wanted. And it's just easier to eat that small piece than 2 hours later feeling so full you can't move, you can't do anything. Yeah. I'd rather eat a small piece.
So don't deprive yourself.
Mm-mm.
No, I think this journey is all about us in life and figuring this out for each one of us. I'm the same way. I'll enjoy that little piece like Reese's. I'm a sucker for Reese's peanut butter
Bobby
cup.
is too.
Okay, but I know this. I can't keep them around the house because if I know that there's a lot around the house, I'll eat them. Mm-hmm. But if there's one or two, every now and then, it's okay. And then I'll tell you another thing. It's a reminder to me when you're eating healthy and you're feeling good. When you go eat something that is not as healthy for you, you're reminded that, that's not as great as I thought it used to be. That's just to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, if I'm gonna go eat something that's a luxury, it better be really good. Does that make sense?
I did this weekend.
What'd you do? I know you did the burger. So let's talk.
Yeah, we went to Lubbock for a golf tournament, and I took my shakes and everything, so I was really good, and took my almonds, took all my little snacks and stuff, and I did good. But when we went out to eat, I didn't choose the burger with no bread or carbs or stuff. I had the mushroom Swiss burger, but instead of eating the whole thing like I normally would have, I ate probably half of it. And I did have, we ordered onion rings. I ordered half an order of onion rings, and I think I had 2 of it. Bobby ate the rest of them.
So in those, have you tried any burgers that, number one, I'm just, because we're visiting,
Mhm.
I always like to just share honest and, because I have these struggles too. Have you done any burgers without a bun and what you think? Or have you done any that are like lettuce wrap type burgers? Have you tried
We've
that?
done, Herbalife has a plan that I have followed that has a lot of recipes. And they had a skinny taco recipe, and they had a burger that had the lettuce and stuff. And it's okay, but
Sometimes you just need a bun.
it's sometimes you need a burger.
Hey, as long as it's a good one. Now, let me ask you about your protein shakes. So you're doing Herbalife, that's working for you. Is it because you enjoy the shakes, or is it because it's easy? Tell me kind of why you do that.
I wake up in the morning and I have to be at work at 6 o'clock.
Certainly. Yep.
I'm up at 4. I go take my pills, and I make my shake, and within 30 minutes I've had breakfast. I can put anything I want to in those shakes, and it's 200 calories and 29 grams of protein.
Yeah, it's easy.
And
it's one of the it just allows you to have a good choice.
Yep.
Yep.
And then, about 10 o'clock I'll have my proteins, cheese stick, or they have a beverage mix that gives me 15 grams of proteins, or tomatoes, yogurt, whatever I want that gives me enough proteins to get to lunch, which is another shake. Because I work in the medical field, and law enforcement, I work at the jail, and so we're grabbing and going.
Yeah, gotta have things quick.
And the officer line they have a salad bar and stuff like that, but it's not sometimes real nutritious.
Looking at your life now and just over the past 2 years, would you do it again?
Yes.
What would you tell someone out there that was in your shoes with diabetes and struggle with their weight? What could you pass on to them?
Just, you can do it. I mean, you can do it without the surgery or with the surgery. I just didn't have the willpower. And now I have the willpower to make better decisions, because when I was that 313-pound person, I was the person that didn't want to be in the pictures, that always took the pictures, didn't really want to be, wore the frumpy clothes, had everything covered up, wore the big sweats, just didn't. I was more ashamed of what I didn't want people to really see me. And now I'm the person that, hey, look at me. I did it. Someone else can do it. I mean, it's like I told Bobby, I looked at some of the pictures that I was sending, and I'm behind him most of the time, hiding. I had to find pictures that, I was actually sitting and doing stuff. But, we went to Colorado, and I'm in a lot of pictures in that trip in the castle. We walked up the castle and everything. When I went to Turner Falls after it had been a year and a half after the surgery, we walked down to where the falls was at. And I never would have done that, little old me. I would have been that person that, y'all go do it, I'll sit here and wait.
So you went from 313 down to 180, and you look fantastic, Amanda.
Thank you.
And I just want to say I'm so proud of you, and I hope that you just inspire other patients that this is doable, and to get back on to being healthy, because that's one thing I've found It's all about our everyday life, whether you do surgery or not do surgery.
It's about eating correct, and they don't realize. I've noticed with my grandson, if it's not fried sometimes, he don't want it.
Yeah.
And we're instilling that in our kids. And if it's not driving through somewhere to pick up something, our kids don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
And I've got him back on track, and he's eating good, nutritious meals. And he loves his vegetables.
So your life changes is affecting your whole family's
Mm-hmm.
life, which
Yep.
that's super cool.
Bobby has lost 10 to 15 pounds.
That's awesome.
He's going to the gym like I'm doing. He's building muscle now. He's where he wants to be on his weight. He wants to start building muscle. And he works for the railroad. I'll go ahead and tell you that. So it can be done on the railroad. He takes the shakes. He packs the lunches. And he packs the protein and stuff. And he will come in and tell me if he eats junk. He'll tell me, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have ate that.
Well, it does. It takes some effort to make healthier choices and plan ahead.
It does, because they work such weird hours.
Yeah.
They have no schedule, and so he, when we first started it, he's like, well, I guess I'll do it since you want to do it. No, we need to get on board and do this.
And I'll tell you, that's over and over I've heard from couples is when you're on board and you're both supporting each other, it makes it easier for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's how it is at my house. And so I think that's key.
Yeah, when I started it was rough on him. And I don't cook 2 meals. I cook proteins, and then I figure out my sides, because there's some days he wants a steak and potato, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to eat that. I don't. I hardly eat potatoes, pastas, rice. I eat a little bit of it, but I can't eat a lot of it. That was one of the things. When my nose starts running and I start itching my nose a lot, I can tell my stomach's too full.
Yeah, that's your sign.
That's a warning sign. And that was another thing I hated when I overate the first time, and oh my gosh, I was miserable. And I told him, I said, I just need to throw up. I just need to throw up, And I don't want to ever. I didn't want to ever throw up again, so I don't overeat. Yeah. I was miserable that first time. You do it one time, and that's another word of advice. You do it one time, that'll be enough for you.
Well, it's a learning curve because your stomach's smaller, and learning what that feeling feels like. And I always liken it to this, that before we do surgery, you have a lot of room to maybe eat a few more bites, this and that, and then you get full. But with this, it's 1 or 2 extra bites, and you're feeling that way, and you're miserable.
And you're miserable.
So you got to learn that and listen to those cues and stop before you're miserable.
Yeah, because if you're not, you're sick.
Well, I want to say this. Thank you for
You're
joining
welcome.
me. I'm so proud of you, Amanda.
Thank you.
You look great, and I encourage you. You keep up the good work.
I will. Now I'm just waiting on the railroad to figure out when they're going to get cosmetic surgery in there.
Well, that's again. You look great. I'm so proud of you. Well, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Bye-bye.